You grew up fast, you know. You had no time for teenage life, really. My town where I was raised often had two airports there during the war, and we were on the telephone from the airports to the telegraph office. And even though I was just a messenger boy, I wanted to get involved with this. So I started copying messages on the telephone from the airport, which was all in code. We had to make so many copies of them that I was pushing through carbon paper, and I thought, yeah, I could do this on the typewriter. So I learned to type by singing a song and typing it along as quickly as I could. Anyway, the chief dispatcher saw me doing that one day, and he said, I need a biller up at the paw. I was 16 years old. There's no men around to hire anyway. They're all in the services and gone, and the town was devoid. I introduced myself at the wicket in the station, and this agent came down, who then was the king of the walk, and a guy named Harry Olson. He looked at me and he looked down at me, and he said, well, you go over to the freight shed there and talk to the cashier, Bob Jackson. The shed foreman came in the name of Gordon Pryor. They put me out in the shed to go to work. And oh boy, he had two-wheel trucks that you've loaded up and twisted and pushed 45-gallon drums of oil. Boy, oh boy, that one day there pretty near killed me. So I came in that night into the office, and I asked if I could use a typewriter. I wanted to write a letter to my mother and let her know that I'm okay in the paw. So I did, and I typed the letter, and Bob Jackson was sitting in the cashier, who was really the boss, and he said, I think tomorrow morning you sit at that typewriter and we'll send the guy that at the typewriter, because he was joining the Navy. He was 19 or 20 joining, but he couldn't type very good. So they sent him to the shed in my place, and oh boy, the next morning when I sat at a typewriter, I was at home. My buddy there, who was a rate clerk, I was just turned 17 and he was 19. And we went into the Cambrian Hotel recruiting office to join the Air Force. And we wrote the exam, and they looked at me and told me to go home and grow up for a couple more years. But Teddy passed. They took him, and he was a tail gunner in a Lancaster, but he never came home. And then got word my brother was killed. I was 18. I joined the Army then, and I was discharged in 46, so I had a couple of years in there. Yeah, I enjoyed this station work. You did your work, you balanced your books, you collected the money, took it to the bank. Up at Wacusco, they couldn't grow anything up there. It was all limestone and jack pine. That's all, you know, trees that go about that big around. Shot moose and bear. A bear I shot right on the tracks. And this big old boar coming down. We saw him coming, and we were waiting for the train, and the platform and waiting room was packed with people from Snow Lake, all the miners and workers and stuff. So I saw the old bear coming, so I said to my assistant agent, come on, let's get this bear. These old ones come along the tracks for any food left, because they don't have any teeth left, and they're not good, but they get orange peelings and stuff. So we walked down the tracks, and I'm waiting and waiting. They got the big black bear's got a little butterfly here, a little white butterfly. And that's what I aimed at until he got, and Bertie was saying, shoot, Mel, shoot, Mel. I said, just a minute. And then I shot, and he rolled over on his back. And the poor thing had hardly any teeth left. They were all stubbed, you know, and terrible thing. I did him a favor, actually, I think. I remember quite well when I was the operator in Emerson. Great Northern came in at 7 o'clock in the morning, just before I quit work. This one day, they'd put a diesel on. At 7 o'clock, that train used to come in every morning right on time with the steam. And then we got one heck of a snowstorm. Oh man, it was a lot of snow. And you know, we're saying that diesel is going to be an hour late, it's going to be 2 hours, you watch what happens. We're all sitting there, well, myself and a couple of assistant agents, and the day man came because this was a big thing, talk about these diesels. 7 o'clock in the morning, that diesel pulled right up in like that. It was covered with snow. And I thought, my God, because even steam we had a lot of trouble with steam, skidding, you know, on tracks and stuff, and oh. And that diesel came at 7 o'clock in the morning, right on time, you know. And that was a big change. Train orders were becoming obsolete, although you could still override with train orders papers if you had to. This is fairly new, you know. New Year's Eve in 83 was my last day. The telegraph was gone, everything was gone, and so we didn't have operators anymore.